This chapter is about creating tables and the create table command. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the data model, well, one of the data models that we presented in a previous chapter. I'm going to use my data modeling tool Irwin to generate a script that will create those tables in the correct order. What I've actually done is I've created the tables, and I have an error here that I need to remove. I've created the tables in the model. I've set up the links with their appropriate non-identifying relationships, which means that the show, for instance, is not identified by the act or the venue. There is one further relationship I need to add in here, which is called the supporting act, and it's defined by a many-to-many relationship between the show and the act tables. This particular relationship is now pushed into here. Is defined by understanding that the act has many shows, or an act performs many shows, and a show can actually have more than one act. So the definition of a many-to-many relationship between the act and the show, I'm going to resolve it into an object. I like to name associative entities, many-to-many resolution joins, because then they have meaning. And this object is actually called, quite obviously, a supporting act. And all it does is basically create a link between the act and the show table that defines one or more supporting acts for each act. And I'm going to make this the same color. I'm going to save this. Now I'm going to generate the script. In here, I'm going to go to the physical model. As you can see from here, I can reverse engineer. I can connect to a database, use the tables already created in a database, and reverse engineer effectively into a script, into a model. I don't want to do that. I'm going to go to something called the physical model, which defines the data or the metadata itself. And now I'm going to tasks, forward engineer, schema generation. Here I can select various options. I like to keep it really simple because I don't like all the stuff that these tools generate. Basic referential integrity. And I'm just going to click preview. I'm going to copy and paste what's been previewed. I'm going to go and put it into a text file. As you can see, it's created the table with a primary key and a foreign key. I don't like the way it creates the primary key. I prefer to create it in line. Also, there's an error in here that it creates. This is actually a number. As you can see in the model, it is a number, but I think it's because I've got a fishhook join on here. A self join. Doesn't like that. Doesn't matter. I fixed it. I've showed you how. It's unlikely you're going to be using a tool like this. This particular version of Irwin is about 10 years, 15 years old, I think. It's old, but it's still very useful to me because it's basic. And obviously the way I do that is to go to PuTTY again, connect to my database. I'm going in as root. I'm going to go in as Oracle. I'll just connect to system. It's easier. I don't need to keep this database secure. It doesn't exactly have anything in it. I need to create user. I could create all these tables in the system user, but I don't want to do that. Create user shows identified by shows. I'm going to grant create session essential, otherwise I can't connect to that user. And create table, I'm creating tables. So I need specific privileges to shows. Now I can connect shows at TNS name. Well, actually I'm going to go back to here. I'm going to just take the first table, Control C. I will change this script later on. I'll adapt it to the way I'd like these scripts generated. I'm going to right click on the window and it pastes it into there. I have a naming problem in here somewhere. Oh, I was fiddling around with the script generation earlier and I changed something by mistake. The primary key is actually this. The foreign key is actually the parent ID. Yeah, you see now we have a problem here. Foreign key is actually the parent that points at the category. So this version of Owen does not like fishhook joins. Just doesn't like them. Don't know why, doesn't really matter. It's fixed. So that's one table I know that could be a problem. Let's just take two tables. Control C. Let's go back to my Linux window again. It's created those. Let's go back to my script. Let's just take the rest of them. Hopefully we don't get any errors. We shouldn't do, but we might. I don't see any errors. Now we can say select table name from user, connected as shows, user tables gives me all the tables in this specific user. DBA tables would give me all the tables in the database, assuming I had access, which I don't. I could look at describe all tables, select count from all tables. See, there's a lot more tables. That gives me access to all tables that my particular user has access to. I have limited privileges. If I was to go into, going off a little bit of a tangent here, now let's just select count from all tables. See what I mean? System has access to a lot more tables than my shows user does. I've now created my shows user tables. And that's all I wanted to show you in this movie.